Yo, boys and girls, thanks for tuning in. Today we're gonna do a little video on the F2000. Basically, we're gonna take a step back in time for those of you who remember when the game first came out. There was quite a few. There's a few weapons that were popular. The F2000 back in those days was huge, as was the AEK. To be fair, that has diminished quite a bit with the patch. Being patched out here and there, but the F2000 used to be really popular gun. I myself used it a large amount, to be honest, when the game first came out. Obviously, as time went on and I started playing a bit more competitively and whatnot, the M16A3 was always the gun of choice. The M16A3 is still the gun of choice. I think it will get nerfed a little bit in the next patch, but even then, it's still probably going to be the best gun. So the F2000 has kind of fallen by the wayside, really, especially with some other fast-firing guns coming out recently, like the FAMAS and whatnot. The F2000 is a bit of a forgotten gun. It is getting a bit of a bit more of a refresh, if you like, from DICE. They're trying to throw camos at some unused guns, the F2000 being one of them, and the F2000 is also a gun that's very heavily featured in the assignments as well, so they are trying to get people using that gun. Whether it will work or not, I think it only works really so people can get the assignments, and then they probably stop using it. Some people still do use it, but not really that many. I'm going to blow up some facts for you straight away, so you can get an idea of where the F2000 sits with the assault rifles. It's got 850 rounds per minute, which used to be pretty high, really, in reference to all the other guns. But to put that into context, as of now, the M16A3 has a rate of fire of 800, so it's just slightly below, and the AEK has a rate of fire of 900. It's just a little bit higher, but then the FAMAS splitters all of them out the water with a rate of fire of 1,000 rounds per minute, which is crazy. So the F2000 and the AEK used to be the most, the fast-firing daddies, as it were, of the day. But now that isn't really the case. There's two almost better alternatives, really, for close combat. The FAMAS is great for close combat, but its accuracy and its recoil are crazy. So the AEK really is the better choice in that regard. Now, moving on to reload times, this is where the F2000 does suffer a little bit in comparison to some of the other main weapons. However, it's not as bad as you might think from the actual stats. Now, when reloading, if you have a bullet left in the chamber, it's 2.65 seconds. But if you're reloading from an empty chamber, 3.6 seconds. Now, that is pretty slow. However, it is pretty much identical to the AEK, which which is a popularly used gun. So the F2000 doesn't really differ in that regard, and the FAMAS is even slower. You can only really compare it to one of the most popular guns, and the M16 has a reload time of 1.8 seconds with a bullet in the chamber, or 2.3 from empty. Now that's quite a big difference, especially from empty. That's a large difference. So I guess we should answer the question, if it doesn't have the best reload time, it's not the most accurate gun, which we know, it has a lot of recoil, then what really is the benefit of the F2000? Why would you use it? Well, I think the best feature of the F2000 is its hipfire. Its hipfire is excellent, really accurate, and if you're inclined to do so, which I'm not, you can pop a laser on it and it makes it even better. So these close quarters battles is really where the F2000 comes into its own. But you've got to really say to yourself, well, that's great, but the AEK is better, really. The AEK's got great hip fire as well. It's got an even faster fire rate, so why wouldn't you use that? Well, in all honesty, you probably would. In terms of competitiveness, you'd want to use the AEK. But the F2000 is a good gun to play with. It's got quite a nice feel to it. It's good for a change, it's worth playing with the F2000 just for nostalgia, if nothing else, to be honest with you. So right now, I think the only thing the F2000 is really good for is just a trip down memory lane. And if that's your cup of tea, then give it a go with your flashy blue camo, because that's awesome. Anyway, I'm out. See you on the next one.